Hello, welcome to another edition of Onside SA. Things are really hotting up. Talking about Budge, let's talk about this last one standing now. Yeah. It's picked up, and it's funny enough, the last two, Andy Craig, is it Andy Craig?
Andy Craig, yeah.
And Grant Croshaw, they went through, and both their teams didn't win. They both drew. Is that right?
Drew, yeah. So Andy was unlucky. Wolves should have won, Paul. Two disallowed goals.
And Spurs
got out of jail.
Yeah, Spurs got out of jail. So let's hope it's sorted out this week. But the next one starts. That's the key, Budge.
Starts Saturday, or this Saturday, Paul.
It starts Saturday.
Yeah, we didn't include the Friday game, because it's the first week. And more importantly, Paul, it wasn't really a big game. Southampton at Leicester. I didn't feel some of the people, and it's a lot of latecomers as usual. And to get them at 9 o'clock telling you before the game starts, I want to be on Leicester, when I sent the SMS out to everybody in the WhatsApp messages. So I thought, first week. Let's give it a
so there we go. First week. Now, it's always good. New broom sweeps clean-up that you'll all be looking at teams like Man City and Liverpool have got Spurs, so some of you might put the handbrake up. But get them on. Get hold of Budgie. Budgie will be contacting each and every one of you to make sure you get your bets on, and we can get the next one rolling. Just to let you know, one of our winners was in the UK now. Yeah,
Hilton was at the Red Star, Tottenham Red Star Belgrade.
Can you believe it? There we go. What a game to go and watch. You know, we'll talk about the game later, but he's also thrown himself into a few race meetings.
Yeah.
And he had great seats at Tottenham, so he loved it. And you just think back to our previous winners. George Salensis.
Georgie.
He won. And where did he go? He went and watched
Liverpool Barcelona.
4-0 Liverpool.
A miracle of all miracles.
A miracle of miracles. So every time our winners go, there's big scores.
Yeah. Well, I spoke to Andy on Sunday. You know, he was still drowning his sorrows from Wolves not winning. And he's a St Mirren supporter. And I said to him, are we going to go to Glasgow to watch St Mirren? So he was obviously said, nah, he'd have to go to a London game. Yeah. So let's see what happens. And obviously he's got to win it first. Millwall, Fulham.
Go sit in the Millwall, Fulham.
Brentford, QPR,
Go sit in the stands with the Millwall thugs. But anyway, don't forget, last one standing. It's a great concept, it's a great idea, great bragging rights. And again, I will be subsidising my four stooges, Charlie Pigram from Spurs, Stevie B, the London pundit, Derek Ramsey, of course, the accountant, and Mark Laboud, the Egyptian cross-dressing jockey. Yep. So those four go out within 3 weeks. What is the story there?
Must be education, Paul. I don't know.
They're supposed to know their football, but I know you've got guys that you got from England that come in.
Nigel Swinbank, Man United guy, doesn't miss. Barmy Army fan.
How long does he last?
I don't know, Paul. No, only a couple of weeks. He hasn't done too bad, Nigel.
Yeah, I never see his name on the credits at the top.
That's true. You know, he doesn't get to the final 10.
No.
A bit like Man United, not in the top 10.
Not in the top 10, yeah. But there we go. Stevie B, our London pundits on the line. Stevie, are you there?
I am. Good morning.
Morning, Steve.
Morning, Stevie. Wonderful to talk to you. We've just been burying you on air, wondering what team are you going to pick? What team are you going to pick? Are we going to give more thought?
Probably. It's a tough one because there aren't that many sort of games you look at and think, oh, that's definitely going to be a home banker or something. So I may just play safe and go for somebody in the top two. So...
Yeah, well, Liverpool wouldn't be a bad choice.
It'll be second. Yeah, Liverpool wouldn't be a bad choice, yeah. All right, you're going to crack it one of these days?
Probably not, but it just makes it entertaining, doesn't it? Yeah. So,
Steve, before we go any further, we've got to talk about your beloved Fulham. What are they, still staying seventh after the win last night?
Yeah, and I think that the thing is, no one seems to want to stay top. So West Brom are probably the only consistent team. Everybody else, as soon as they get into the top two, like Nottingham Forest have had a wobble. Yeah. Leeds had a bit of a wobble. They got themselves back up there. But there's something like 4 points separates the top 9 teams. So we won again last night, having lost at Stoke, and we're 2 points off second place. So, we're handily placed. But I think defensively, I'm a little bit concerned. We've conceded 2 goals in each of our last 3 games, which is a little bit of a concern, even though last night we probably should have had far more than 3, but so we've got a tough trip away this weekend, so we'll see what happens.
All right, let's get on to Budge, Champions League.
Yeah, Champions League, Steve. Tottenham 5-0, Red Star Belgrade. Did you catch much of that?
I saw them. I thought they did very well. I mean, they were obviously determined. Caught Red Star on a bit of a bad night for them, but they looked much sharper than they have recently, and I don't think you could have predicted it was going to end up sort of 5-0 beforehand. But I think they'll take that, and the results sort of went quite well for them in the end. So I think they'll be very happy with that, and whether or not they can now carry that form through into their league, into the league.
Yeah, that's the thing, Stevie, playing Liverpool. It's another great reminder. But anyway, I was chuffed. I watched every moment of the game, as I do with every Spurs game.
Of course.
They played well. Harry Kane played very well. Nice to see him playing well.
Well, I think they were due, and it was good to see Son back. But I think they were due a good performance for the fans. So, and I think obviously people were thinking they could be found wanting in the group, and they certainly had to get that result. So I think they're not sort of too badly placed now, because Bayern Munich are going to win that group, and Tottenham going to hang on to second. Then I think that's fine. They get themselves through to the knockout stage, which I think all they can ask for.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Steve, Man City, until it went 3-1, they're still dodgy at the back. The penalty they gave away was a terrible decision. Yeah.
Well, I think this is the thing, isn't it? I mean, they played when they played Crystal Palace the other day with sort of effectively a makeshift centre half pairing, although Palace didn't cause them too many problems, certainly not until they were at least 2-0 up. So I think they probably will concede goals, but the thing you've got with City is they've got players who can hurt you. And obviously Raheem Sterling was in tremendous form, Aguero and Raheem Sterling. So I think once they went ahead, it was never in doubt.
Yeah. Now, what's the Ajax-Chelsea game last night?
Just before you go on to that, Bud, sorry. I saw something, it was a flash up on Facebook or something, Steve, of Pep Guardiola losing his marbles, or he's thrown his toys out, dressing stones in the grandstand. Do you know anything about that?
I haven't seen that. I'm not sure that sort of hit the headlines here. So that's an interesting one. I wonder what that was about. But
he was bellowing, Steve, bellowing his head off. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, his comment about if we can't win the competition because we don't defend as a team. I don't know. There's some of the comments that have come out from him lately.
Yeah.
Pressure.
I think there is a bit of pressure, because obviously they've had a couple of really poor results in the league. Obviously losing at Norwich I thought was a one-off, but then losing at home to Wolves. Yeah. So they are under pressure, and I think they were fortunate in a way that obviously Liverpool sort of dropped points last weekend, so they clawed a couple of points back. But he is under pressure. I guess he sets himself very, very high standards, apart from those that are set for him. So I think anything other than sort of winning the league, he'll see as sort of not meeting expectations.
Yeah, one guy who is meeting expectations, Frank Lampard. I watched the game last night. They did get out of jail with the disallowed goal, but I tell you what, they're improving at a rate of knots, Chelsea.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you think that obviously they've got all these young players that have not played together in the first team, and I think they're equipping themselves really well. So I didn't see any of it as I was obviously at Fulham last night, but I heard that they were good value in the end. And actually, that's a tremendous result for them, because having sort of lost at home in the first game, they now sort of find themselves in a good position. And I think if they can get through to the knockout stage, they might have exceeded expectations there.
Yeah, I think it'll be a different game in the second game at Stamford Bridge, because Ajax look a team to me that love playing on the break.
Yeah, absolutely. And even though, as we know, they have sold a number of their best players, they always bring players through. I mean, that's been their style. And I don't think they're going to go as deep in the competition as they did last time.
I agree. Yeah.
But because I think they caught teams cold who just weren't expecting Ajax to sort of play at that level. But I think as things stand, I wouldn't be at all surprised if Ajax and possibly Chelsea go through.
Yeah, I think.
What about Genk bringing players through? We'll just talk about Genk. Have you known some good players come from them?
Yeah, I mean, I think some of the Belgium would produce some good players, but there isn't any money in Belgian football, so they can't keep hold of them. And you look at the quality of some of those Belgian players that are playing in the biggest clubs in Europe. Yeah. And had they have stayed at clubs like Bruges and Genk, Standard Liège, they would be a dominant force in Europe, but they just can't keep them for very long at all. So it's... I feel sorry for them, but I guess that's how they survive. They bring the players through, they sell them, maybe a bit too soon, a bit too young, but and that pays for everything going forward for them.
Yeah, I agree. I must say, Liverpool, I was glad for Oxlade-Chamberlain. I think he played well when he came on against Man United.
Good player.
His second goal with the right foot was exquisite, and I think he could help them go a long way again towards winning the league.
I think if they've got a sort of Oxlade-Chamberlain back fit, if they've got Adam Lallana back fit, then obviously it sort of adds to the depth of the squad because obviously Salah had been out, Mane could get injured, Firmino, they need that cover because at times when those three or one or two of those three are out, they've looked a bit sort of lightweight up front at times. So I think having those other players in the squad that can come through and share the load, I think would be, and it's quite likely that if they get themselves through in a position, if they beat Genk, they can take players off in the latter stage of that part of that game and rest one or two.
Yeah, I watched the Napoli or the second half of the Napoli-Salzburg game. It's as good a game as I've seen this year. That youngster Haaland, he's going for big money.
Oh, absolutely. I think there's no question. And hopefully he'll come to the Premiership as his father was. So he's broken all sorts of stats. He's got more goals than any other sort of teenager in the Champions League at this stage. And he's already scored six goals in the Champions League in 3 games at 19 years old. So it's been a wonderful shop window for him, and it's good for his club because, again, as you say, they're going to get big money. Whether they rush to sell him in January, I think there will be some buyers for him, or certainly in the summer he'll go for big money. There's no question.
Yeah, and that could be a lurker team to win the Europa League, Steve. Salzburg. I think
that's if they hold on to him because obviously a lot of clubs are circling with a view to getting him in January. But we never know who else drops down from the Champions League. There's always one or two biggish teams that can drop out. So, as you say, they're an exciting team to watch. Salzburg. They score goals, but as we know, they can concede as well.
Yeah, it's open gates at the back. Onto the Premiership, big game of the weekend: Liverpool-Tottenham. Can Spurs continue their good league run?
Well, it's interesting. Liverpool, to me, have been sort of fairly inconsistent. They've been winning their games, but they weren't actually playing as well as we know they can. Yeah. And for the first hour or so, I thought they were going to get nothing out of that game at Anfield, but they came on strong in the last 15 minutes. You don't know what Tottenham are going to turn up. If the Tottenham that played against Watford or Brighton go to Anfield, they get beaten easily. But I think it'll be close. Tottenham normally give them a good game. They gave them a really good game last season. So, I hope it's entertaining. I think there will be goals, but I think Liverpool will probably just come out on top.
Okay, you mentioned Brighton. Can they upset the other Liverpool team in Everton?
Well, again, as we know, before last weekend, Everton were on a shocking run, but they played very well last Saturday lunchtime. So it depends what Everton are going to turn up. If they play with the sort of determination that they played, and actually they had sort of Gomez and Davies back in midfield.
Yes,
they looked much stronger. They dropped Sigurdsson, and when he came on, he was like he had a point to prove and scored a tremendous goal. I think that's going to be close. I'm not sure Brighton will beat Everton. I think that could be not more than a goal or so in it, but maybe a draw there.
Now, the unluckiest team from last week, I thought, was Watford. You think they get a little bit luck against Bournemouth on Saturday?
Yeah, VAR was not their friend last weekend. Twice they probably felt hard done by. Last season, Bournemouth went there and won convincingly. Yeah. It was a really big win for them. Watford have got to find a way to start winning games. I think this will be tough. Bournemouth seem to be playing a little better away from home. Yeah. So I think Watford have got to try and target this as a win, and if they do, I think it'll probably just be by a goal or so.
Yeah, now you said West Ham were poor last week. I couldn't agree more, Steve. Sheffield United, they played well against Arsenal on Monday night. They're unbeaten away from home. Can they continue that run?
I thought they were exceptional. They just defend. All 11 players put a shift in. And when you look at their team, you probably wouldn't pick virtually any of their players and put them in most of the top 6 Premiership teams. But as a team, Billy Wilder's really got them sort of working hard. And I thought as the game wore on, Arsenal looked less and less likely to score. And Pepe, £72 million. It was it's a shocking miss in the first half that could have changed the game. So I wouldn't be surprised. Sheffield United are very hard to beat. They've got the second best defensive record in the Premier League. But, scoring goals has been their trouble. And I think depends if West Ham play as they can do. Hopefully, if you're a West Ham fan, you'd want to see a reaction after last Saturday. I think that'd be nice. But I think West Ham seem to have a knack of beating the teams sort of around them and lower down in the table. If you look at the results the last couple of years, pretty much they're beating these teams. I think West Ham will win that. but I think it'll be very close.
Okay, now Chelsea travel to Burnley. That's the main game on Saturday. How do you see that one?
Yeah, well, again, I mean, Burnley probably feel a little bit hard done by recently. VAR has not helped them. I think Chelsea have been very exciting to watch. Sort of away from home, they seem to sort of sit a bit deeper and then sort of break. All their young players. It'd be interesting if he starts with Pulisic. He's played really well the last couple of games, and I think with the other young players there, I think Chelsea could go there and win actually.
Championship,
Steve. Well, we've got to kick off with your boys, Fulham. Do you think they can get a result away from home at Middlesbrough?
I hope so, but I think it's going to be a very dour game. I mean, Middlesbrough are
terrible.
not scoring. They're not conceding many, but they're not scoring. And I think if we just need to be a bit braver at times and actually stop passing the ball across the back, and the players of the quality we got should actually be going for the throat. A couple of years ago we went there and won with a 93rd minute penalty in a very poor game. I don't think there'll be much in it. I can see that being no more than about 1 or 2 goals in the game. I'd like to think we could win it, but a draw wouldn't be a terrible result.
Yeah, that's true. Now, Birmingham City play the team you watched last night, Luton. You think they'll be too good for them?
Well, when I saw Birmingham on the TV recently, I thought they played really well. And I think if they play like that, I think they will be too strong for Luton. I thought the first half Luton probably gave us too much respect and sat back. And if not for the goalkeeper and a little bit of wayward finishing, we should have been 3 up at half time. To their credit, Luton pressed second half, but basically it was all about just throwing balls in the box. And I think they didn't really create a lot more other than that. So I think Birmingham will be too strong.
Okay, now my Preston boys, we haven't won in 2, which is not the best of records for us, but local derby against Blackburn, how do you see that one?
Yeah, I think that will be, Blackburn are a funny side. They're sitting halfway. They've 1 week, they're winning, the next week they're losing. I think Preston will want to get back to winning ways. I wouldn't be at all surprised. I think it will be close, but I wouldn't be at all surprised if Preston just edge that.
Yeah, I watched Blackburn. They were on the TV against Huddersfield at home. And the goal, they gave away a silly penalty. Then they went 2-1 up and conceded late. I agree, funny team. But, hopefully we get back to winning ways. But as we know, local derbies are never easy.
No, in fact, there are. I know they're not in your pools, but obviously there are 2 big derbies this weekend. One is Sheffield Wednesday Leeds,
lunchtime
and the other
kickoff,
is Swansea Cardiff.
Yep, that's on Sunday,
On Monday, and QPR Brentford. So there just seems to be a number of derbies going on this weekend. And actually, if they all take points off each other, the teams in and around the top 6 that do win could find themselves going up 3 or 4 places.
Talking about derby, they travel to Hull City. How do you see that one?
Yeah, they've sort of come on a little stronger derby. They left it late to win yesterday again. Hull had a tremendous result.
Yeah.
Again, with Hull, you're not quite sure what you're going to get. 1 week you think they're going to win and they lose, and the next week they go to Forest, who again, as soon as they get into the top 2, have had a wobble. Evidently, it was a very good performance. They were down to 10 men for the last sort of half an hour, but sort of dug deep and hang on. I think that will be close. I think there could be goals. I don't think there'll be much in it. I think Hull could probably hold Derby.
All right. And last but not least, Steve, Millwall at home against Stoke City.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because Gary Rowett, who was at Stoke, has now just been appointed
Correct.
at Millwall.
Yeah.
And Millwall have actually shown a little bit of form. They had a wobble. They haven't won many, but obviously beating Leeds, drawn away, they drew with Cardiff. I think they might just have a little bit too much for Stoke. I know Stoke would be buoyed by sort of winning against Fulham and Swansea, but I think Millwall at home are a tough team. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's close, but Millwall might just edge that.
All right. Now, Steve, upset of the weekend. If you have to pick a team, Premiership or Championship, to cause an upset, who would that be?
Well, without sort of being too controversial, and I wouldn't want to upset you, Budge, but you've just got a feeling that Norwich have got nothing to lose, because I think at the moment they're sinking fast, conceding too many goals. I think the fact that United are finding it hard to score, I think Norwich will just throw everything at United, and if Timo Pukki's on form, they could be a high-scoring game. But I think Norwich, if there was a shock, I think that could be the one in the Premiership this week. Maybe it isn't a shock, but I think Norwich are capable of beating United.
Well, you're going to say Preston to beat Fulham on Tuesday night, but
well, that's as I said to you, that it's a game in December. They picked that out as the live Sky game.
Oh, that's good.
It should be.
Well, hopefully it's on, Steve. We got. I think there's league. Is it this Tuesday it's on?
No, December, not till December.
Oh, sorry, December. Okay. There's League Cup games this week.
They announced the live games sort of 6-7 weeks before.
Oh, that's
so
great.
They just announced all the live games up until sort of Christmas. Very interesting. So Amazon Prime bid for one matches they're showing on Boxing Day.
Okay.
So they're showing every match in the Premiership on Boxing Day. Some are on at the same time, but others, they've staggered a number of games. But I think the one that a lot of fans are upset about is Liverpool are playing Leicester. I think Leicester are home to Liverpool, 8 o'clock in the evening on Boxing Day.
That's crazy. No,
so, I'm not sure, I mean, again, they have the right to do that, because obviously that was the deal, but I think if I was a Liverpool fan and having to travel, there's no public transport, so, it seems a little harsh on people like to see football on Boxing Day, but not 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah. That's true. Stevie, absolutely brilliant talking to you, and I hope your team does well, as does mine, as does Budgie's. Budgie supports two teams. And the key is give a lot of thought to your last one standing.
I will, and I shall email you, Budge, shortly.
All right, lovely. Steve. Thanks very much, Steve.
Thanks, Stevie. Take care.
All the best.
Bye.
All right, there we go. International pundit Stevie B, a man who knows his football, puts us on the right page. Right, Budge, let's go and look at these Premiership fixtures. You've got them on the screen coming up now. Tell me your thinking here, Budge.
Paul, Friday night we kick off Leicester. I like Leicester, Paul. I haven't been impressed with Southampton. At home, they haven't won at home for ages. And I think Leicester...
Leicester for me,
I like Leicester, Paul. I just think 13-10. I think that's a good bet, Paul.
Yeah.
There'll be plenty of bookings, but I just think Vardy and co will have too much for that Southampton team.
Madison, is he playing for them?
She's expected to play, Paul.
Okay, let's move on.
1 to 10 Man City. I've looked at all the avenues.
Have you ever seen a team bigger than 25-1 in a one-off? I haven't.
Oh, I've seen when West Brom got relegated, I think they were United 1-20 and they were 33-1 and West Brom won 1-0. And one of our guys, shame I shouldn't mention his name, but he was going in the last one standing and he had Man United. He hasn't entered since. I still think he's shell-shocked.
He's still in therapy.
Still therapy, you're right.
Yeah.
It's got to be Man City, Paul.
Brighton?
Yeah, Brighton, Everton. I like Everton of the two teams.
Brighton,
but
good side.
Good side, Paul, but they just don't win many games other than
beating
Everton Spurs.
Do you think Everton do? They've won 1 out of 6.
Everton look like scoring a lot of goals, Paul.
Yeah,
that's the
true.
difference.
They create.
But I like Brighton. Paul, the draw would be my bet in there.
Brighton pass the ball well and they defend well and they keep the ball well.
Well organised, Paul.
Yeah, well organised. Who's the boss there?
It's Steve Potter's connection, Graham Potter.
Okay.
He's done a good job. But a draw for me there in that particular game.
Okay, Watford
Bournemouth, Paul. Watford's luck's got to change, but as a wise man once told me, rather back a winner till he loses than a loser until he wins. And a lot of people have been on Watford.
It's my casino policy.
My casino policy. I don't go. That's why I don't lose. But I thought they were unlucky last week against Spurs. It was a penalty, everyone knows that. But they showed a lot of fight, Paul. But the only thing is, Bournemouth, this counter-attacking style.
Yeah, they're quick.
Be careful. I think
Troy Deeney back yet?
He's reportedly back in training, but I doubt he'll play.
The Deulofeu is a good player.
Yeah, good player. He's from Barcelona, Paul. Good player.
Yeah,
that could go any way, that particular game, Paul. It would be nice for Watford to get a result, but Bournemouth are dangerous on the break, Paul.
West Ham?
Should be West Ham.
Should be West Ham.
They always, as Steve said, they always beat the teams around them.
Yeah.
Terrible against Everton. You've got to expect them to rebound.
They were poor. They were poor. I wonder if Billy Sharp will get a run for Sheffield.
He's not suspended, and Jagielka as well.
Yeah, that's right. How about Burnley?
Burnley, Chelsea.
Burnley going to throw the balls on the two big boys.
It's coming, but that the Chelsea's goalkeeper, was it Keeper's his name, last few digits, but been impressed with Chelsea, Paul. They had a hard game last night against Ajax. Saturday night kick-off, another lot of youngsters. I wouldn't be taking 8-10, Paul, but I'd expect Chelsea to win that game.
Burnley are just a thorn in most teams' sides.
They're well organised and they direct. They don't try and play football. Just get it in the box. Let's compete to our strengths.
Newcastle, Wolves.
I like Wolves, Paul. What I see, Newcastle Greyhounds running with their heads chopped off. Wolves can play. If they get hold of it. I'm just not impressed with Newcastle. It's easy to park the bus. They got lucky against Man United. The youngsters scored a good goal. But United weren't playing well, and we were in total control.
Yeah.
I think Wolves will win, Paul. I think that's
18th Newcastle,
you know, I like
13th Wolves.
Paul, even though they are playing in, I think they're playing Serbia tonight in the Europa League. But I like Wolves.
Now Arsenal were actually stunned by that defeat the other day. Sheffield played well. Now, Crystal Palace have been beaten. They're going to have to want to bounce back. You know, they're in 6th. So
Arsenal always win at the Emirates. Whatever they do away from home, at the Emirates,
they're a good team.
Yeah, it just seems like a completely different team. You'd expect, I think both teams will score, but Arsenal 3-1, 4-2, something like that for me there, Paul.
Okay. Liverpool, Tottenham, tough game. As Stevie says, which Tottenham Hotspur team pitches up? Spurs have got the players. They've got the players to worry them. They're a good. Liverpool's a fortress, though. Yeah.
The thing is, Paul, is you've got to get your tactics right against Liverpool. You know, United got it right. They blocked the winger, the fullbacks from coming. But with Salah back in the team, it's a different team, Liverpool. Without him, I think they're half a team. A lot of my Liverpool mates disagree. He's greedy. I like Salah.
Yeah, me
too. It just depends.
Liverpool,
Tottenham will score, Paul. They always do.
Yeah, they always do.
You know, I've just ever been a Pochettino fan as far as tactics go.
Yeah.
And I think you get let down again.
Well, let's hope he gets it right. Norwich, Man United.
Paul, if ever we got a match to win, it's this one. You know, I think we'll go out there. We've got to go and have a go.
Yeah.
You know, Norwich, I know they score goals, but defensively they're terrible.
Yeah.
I think there's plenty of goals in this, Paul, but I like United. After last Sunday, I think Martial back, Pogba will make a miraculous recovery. And if we can't go to Norwich and win, Paul, well, then I don't know.
You know, a lot of teams struggle
well,
with
you know,
them,
Man City went there and got beat.
They are porous.
They are. You know, I fancy us there.
Just go championship, budge.
Yeah. You know,
Sheffield Wednesday, Leeds.
The game will be on, Paul. I'll be watching this. Leeds away from home, done a lot better than they have at home lately.
It's second place, third.
Yeah, they've done well. Gary Monk's done a good job at Sheffield Wednesday.
Yeah.
They won 3, I think it's 4 of the last 6 at home.
Yeah.
But I like Leeds there, Paul. But it'll be a tight game. You know, Saturday lunchtime in England, local derby. You know, I think a draw and Leeds for me there, Paul.
Birmingham?
I fancy Birmingham big time. I watched them against Middlesbrough. They should have won 4 or 5. You know, Luton concede too many goals for me. Yeah. So I like Birmingham there, Paul. Even money all day.
Huddersfield Town?
Well, under Danny Cowley, I think they haven't lost. I think it's 4 games now. Yeah, they drew last night. Barnsley, the only time Barnsley won a game was they beat Fulham in the opening game, but they were 2-0 up against West Brom on Tuesday night at West Brom, and they came back, ended up 2-2. But Huddersfield for me there, Paul. Won't be taking 8 to 10, but I think they'll win.
Stevie says Hull City derby, tough
Hull City cost me a nice bet, a nice treble coming with Notts Forest, and they were 2-0 up, went 2-1, and they had a player sent off, and they hung on. You know, that Jared Bowen, they score goals.
The Spurs boys.
The only thing
Spurs
is,
wanted them. Yeah.
You know, apparently it's the biggest pitch in England. When they were in the Premiership a couple of seasons ago, it was the widest pitch in England. So everyone goes there. They can't win at home, Hull City. Away from home, they do great. I think they've only won 1 or 6 at home. Now, Derby are unbeaten. I think it's in 6 now. I think there's goals, Paul, because it's a great stadium. You know, all 3 for me there. But if I have to side with one, I think Derby may just sneak it because of Hull's poor form.
Middlesbrough, Fulham.
Yeah, this is a chance for Fulham. You know, Middlesbrough are terrible, Paul.
Are they struggling?
Terrible. Just watching that night against Birmingham, they just didn't look like a team. And
Who's the boss then?
Jonathan Woodgate, the big centre half, played for England and Leeds.
Yeah.
He's on borrowed time. Terrible time to play Fulham. But as Steve said, defensively they've been woeful of late.
Yeah.
Conceding 2 goals at home against Luton last night. It's not the best. Fulham in a draw for me there, Paul.
Okay. Millwall, Stoke City.
You know, Millwall have only won 1 out. I think it's out of 10 games. I know at home they beat Preston there, and they're not a bad team at home. I think they beat Leeds at home. That was the only game they've won in the last 10. Stoke are coming right. They should have got a point at Sheffield Wednesday. I saw the goal. It was on the guy's right foot to clear it, and somehow the guy tried to clear it with his left foot and missed it, and the guy went through and scored. I think that's got 2-1 the draw written all over that game, Paul.
Okay.
Well, Forest for me, Paul, I'm just disappointed. Since Dawson's been injured, I thought he was going to come back last night. That's why I backed them.
Yeah.
And they got beat 2-1. You know, they've lost 2 in a row. I think they'll come back. Now, Reading's got Mark Bowen, the Welshman, the left back that was at Norwich. They beat Preston and they got a draw at QPR in midweek. But I think Forest, they're some good players, Paul. If ever they're going to be a playoff contender, they've got to beat Reading at home, even money.
The North End, boys?
Well, my boys, we should beat Blackburn, but it's a local derby, Paul. But at home, we don't get beat at home. It's 5 wins and 2 draws at home. You know, we drew with Bristol City and Leeds. You know, we held our own against Leeds. If we can't beat Blackburn Rovers, especially at home, Paul, we don't deserve to be in playoff contention. Even money for me all day.
Okay, West Brom, Charlton.
Well, it should be West Brom. You know, Charlton, funny team, another in-and-out team under Lee Boyer. You know, West Brom, I think, will come back up.
Yeah.
But they've always got a bad result in them. They always throw goals in. But you should expect them to beat Charlton at home, Paul. I won't be taking the 4-10, but they should win.
And then Swansea
I don't
City,
trust
Cardiff,
Swansea. The wheels have come off
Welsh
there.
Derby.
I think they've lost 3 of the last 4 at home. Cardiff, you know, I watched them, Paul. I watched them last Friday. I backed them against Sheffield Wednesday. They scored a free kick late on to get a point. It's a desperate game, Paul. 2 poor teams in my book.
Okay.
I'd be taking the draw.
And then Bristol City, Wigan.
Yeah, they got out of jail last night. They scored 2 goals late on Bristol City to win 2-1. I think they beat Charlton. I think they'll beat Wigan, Paul. Wigan don't win away from home 9-10 all day.
And then QPR, Brentford.
Well, this game will hopefully be on. Now, Brentford, they're always short in the betting, but they went to Swansea on Tuesday and beat them 3-0. QPR have more shots on target than any other team, so it should be both teams to score there, Paul.
Yeah.
But London derbies, I remember Tubbs, mate, took me to both grounds. There's a couple of miles between the stadiums and housing complexes. I'd be taking the draw there, Paul.
All right, let's talk local. PSL.
Yep.
The top of the log, I think Kaiser Chiefs.
Chiefs are on top, Sundown's got a game in hand.
And 2 games in hand to
Bidvest Wits, Gavin's team.
Right, Cape Town City, playing Peter Maris. Or
you know, Eric Tinkler's turned them around recently, but all their results have been at home, Maritzburg. They don't score many goals away from home. But Benny's team, you know, I watched them against Chiefs on Saturday in the Cup, 1-0 up. And it's easy to sit from the stand and say, don't take your centre forward off when you're hanging on for a draw.
Yeah.
Chiefs equalised 1 on penalties. If they score 2 goals, they'll win, Paul. Mainly because Maritzburg can't score. But they haven't won, I think it's 7 games they haven't won for Cape Town City. But if ever there's a chance to get off the losing streak, this is the game, Paul.
Supersport?
Should be, but you know, Black Leopards are one of those hard-working teams. Luke Emel's taken over them to Belgium. Disappointed in Supersport. I backed them on Saturday against Baraka, Paul, in the Telkom. They were lucky to get out of it. They scored an injury time and ended up winning on penalties.
Yes.
7-10 I won't be taking, Paul, but they should win. Golden Arrows played Polokwane in the Telkom. It went to extra time before Golden Arrows won. 19-10 for me here, Paul. Under 2.5 goals looks a certainty, especially as they're they're well organised defensively, both sides, Paul. But Golden Arrows in a draw for me there.
Okay, next game.
Well,
Stellenbosch.
Steve Barker, the last 3 games Stellenbosch have played, they'd scored 2 goals in each game. You know, Pirates concede. I know they're good going forward, but they've only won 1. I think it's the last 8 games, Pirates, Paul. I wouldn't be taking even money Pirates, even though they are the better team.
Yeah, they
both teams to score for me. I think there'll be goals in that game, Paul.
Okay. The next one is that
Highlands?
Highlands.
Paul, You know, I didn't watch much from the game because I was watching Ajax, Chelsea and that, but injury time goal went through the midfield players' legs. They took it well, but Owen de Garman, they must have been frustrated. I think they'll beat Chipper United 14-10 for me all day, Paul.
Okay, and then
likewise Baraka. Amazulu away from home. They've lost 8 of the last 10. They drew the other 2. Baraka are unlucky against Supersport in the Cup. The only problem is Baraka at home, Paul. I don't know what the story is. They struggle at home, but if ever there's an opportunity for 3 points, this is it, because Amazulu are poor, especially away from home.
And then, is this betting right?
Yeah. When I looked at it, Sundowns. Paul, Sundowns played to their capabilities, Paul. They should win, but Chiefs are dangerous. I think it's 12-10 both teams to score, Paul. I was going to make that my best bet of the weekend, but obviously I can't.
Yeah.
You know, Chiefs have got injuries, but they should all be ready for this game, and this is a statement game for Chiefs. If they can win this game, Paul, major contenders to win the league. But Sundowns have got quality written all over them, Paul. So, you know, Sundowns in a draw for me there.
All right, I see we've got some La Liga fixtures, no?
No, we go into the soccer exotics for Saturday, Paul.
Okay,
you know, I've gone Orlando Pirates win and draw at Stellenbosch. I've gone Golden Arrows win and draw at home against Polokwane City. I've sided with Everton to avoid defeat at Brighton. I've gone West Ham win and draw at home against Sheffield United. I've gone Chelsea win and draw at Burnley, and I've banked at Highlands Park to beat Chipper United 192. Our second soccer six is the English one. I've gone Everton win and draw at Brighton. I've thrown the draw in with Watford win and draw at home against Bournemouth. I've gone West Ham, win and draw at home against Sheffield United. I've sided with Derby County, win and draw at Hull City. I've banked West Brom to beat Charlton. And I've gone Chelsea, win and draw at Burnley, 192.
Okay.
A soccer 10, I've gone Orlando Pirates, win and draw in Stellenbosch. I've gone Golden Arrows, win and draw at home against Polokwane. I've gone the field in the Brighton-Everton game. I've gone West Ham, win and draw at home against Sheffield United. I've gone the field in the Hull City Derby County clash.
You're right.
I've banked West Brom to beat Charlton, Birmingham City to beat Luton. Yeah. I've gone Preston to beat Blackburn, and I've gone Chelsea win and draw at Burnley, and I've banked at Highlands Park to beat Chipper, 288.
Okay, the big one.
The big one is the soccer 13. I've gone the field in the Everton-Brighton game. I've gone Watford win and draw at home against Bournemouth. I've gone West Ham win and draw at home against Sheffield United. I've gone for Chelsea to get a good result at Burnley. Likewise, Derby County to avoid defeat at Hull City. I don't see Fulham losing away to Middlesbrough. I've banked West Brom to beat Charlton. I've banked Preston to beat Blackburn, Birmingham City to beat Luton Town, and Huddersfield Town to beat Barnsley. I've gone Stoke City win and draw at Millwall, and ended up with Notts Forest to beat Reading and Kalmar to beat Falkensburg, 326.
Okay, the last one's a bit of a stumbler.
Yeah, they always throw in a Swedish game, the two worst teams in the league. It's a relegation clash.
Okay, Premiership treble.
Yeah, on to our bets, Paul. I think Leicester will win at Southampton. I like Wolves to win at Newcastle, and I think Man United will beat Norwich, and over 2.5 total goals, Paul.
Okay.
Into the Championship, I've gone the 4 teams there. I've gone Birmingham City to win at home against Luton. I've backed Bristol City to be too good for Wigan Athletic. I've gone for Preston North End to beat Blackburn, and I've gone for Notts Forest to win at home against Reading, 2,900 to 200.
Okay, Premier.
PSL quad, I've gone Baroka to beat Amazulu. I've gone Highlands Park to beat Chipper, and I've gone both teams to score. The odds on these teams were frightening, so we had to have a go at that. It's Sundowns Sundowns Kaiser Chiefs and Stellenbosch Orlando Pirates. Paul, I couldn't believe when it worked out so 5,500 to 200. Both teams to score. Teams from England are Arsenal Palace, Brighton Everton, Liverpool Tottenham, Hull Derby County, and West Brom versus Charlton.
I hope Charlton score.
Yeah, they'll score. 2,500 to 200, yeah.
The Spanish omelette?
Spanish omelette, Paul. I've gone Levante to beat Espanyol. I've gone Valencia to beat Osasuna. I've gone Getafe to win or draw at Real Sociedad. And Celta Vigo to win a draw at home against Real Sociedad. And I've gone Getafe to win a draw in Seville. 3,300 to 200.
And then Collis King?
6 on extra. I've gone Man City to beat Aston Villa. I've gone Man United to beat Norwich. I've gone Birmingham to beat Luton. I've gone Notts Forest to beat Reading. I've gone Atalanta, the Italian side, to beat Udinese. And I've gone Juventus to beat Lecce. 2,900 to 200.
All right, Budge, in another area that you're very strong at the moment, your best bet and your value bet.
Best bet is Birmingham City. I think they'll be too good for Luton. I watched them against Middlesbrough. And even when they got beat by Leeds United, all the stats showed they had more chances. They're creative. So I've got to go for them, Paul. I think Luton are struggling. They concede goals. And even money, Paul. It's 9 to 10 even money is the worst we give. That's my best bet of the weekend.
And then your value bet?
My value bet is Valencia. They go to Osasuna. They're a good team. I watched them beat Athletic Bilbao when I backed them. They beat them 1-0. They've got a lot of good players, Paul.
Yeah.
They went to Chelsea and won 1-0, even though a little bit fortunate. They played in the Champions League last night. They drew 1-1 at Lille. And also it's a Sunday game. When these teams play in the Champions League on a Wednesday and they play on a Saturday, they tend to rotate their players. But because it's a Sunday and it's the main game, I think they'll be ready and they'll be too good, Paul.
Alrighty, there we go. That's the football for this week. Don't forget the new last one standing starts. Bud will be sending our WhatsApp to all of you. Anyone wants to get on, just speak to Budge on the WhatsApp and let's get your bets in. Until next time, stay on side.